You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, of course, joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Do not miss a single moment of this podcast episode. We have all kinds of huge reveals and news that we're going to talk about from beginning until end. This is a big one, guys. Okay. In fact, this is one of the most important podcast episodes we've ever done. So stay right there through this whole thing. You will not want to miss a thing. Now, I'm going to talk right here in the beginning about the title. Okay. The topic in the title, and that is Megyn Kelly. You know, Megyn Kelly, you know, she had her run-ins with our great president, Donald Trump, during the first campaign. But for the most part, what she's doing now, you see her on YouTube, you know, she's very, very good. And she does a lot of great interviews and really points out a lot of great things. She told a story about Ron DeSantis this week.
Oh, yeah. That
just will blow your mind away. I'm going to play a clip of Megyn Kelly talking about Ron DeSantis in just a moment. But I got to tell you, Ron DeSantis, it's amazing what's happened to him. It started when he said that Bragg Soros could come to Florida and arrest President Trump and he would not interfere or get involved. And then it's been just a snowball effect downhill right here in sunny Florida where we don't even have snow.
He's had no good news.
And
I mean, really, in the last month.
Not only has he had no good news, and he has been just destroying his career. And I said this about 2 weeks ago. Ron DeSantis is unelectable forever.
And now Trump is saying
that. Yeah. And
he heard you say it.
Maybe he did. I hope the president is welcome to not quote me and take anything that I say and use it. I'm proud of that. Very proud of that.
It would be nice if he quoted you.
Ron DeSantis not only is unelectable forever, he's so out of touch with himself and reality, he doesn't even know it. So let me get to this. This is Megyn Kelly, and she's talking about Governor Ron DeSantis and gives some very specific things about Ron DeSantis we have never heard before that shows he's done. Megyn Kelly, listen.
Some friends of mine were at one of these dinners with him. You know, he's not dumb. He's been having these muckety-muck dinners with very wealthy donors, and they were at one of them. And their comment on DeSantis, who they really liked, I mean, they like him on paper, was that the entire dinner, he did not ask one question of anyone there. It was all about himself. He was happy to talk about himself, but he showed zero interest in the people around the table, which is a cardinal sin in how to run a dinner party, how to be at a dinner party, never mind how to run for president. Trump is probably the opposite, right? Even as a reporter, Trump would call me all the time. He'd send me notes all the time, newspaper articles about him. And he wanted to make sure I saw. I actually think it could matter.
Okay. Now, this is pretty big, and we got something else, too, we're going to get to about this subject in just a few minutes about Ron DeSantis, something you have not ever heard before about Ron DeSantis that's coming up. But this thing about her saying that he only talked about himself and didn't ask people about themselves, their wants and needs. You know, I have met presidents and people who have been running for president, and I'll give you the list real quick of some of them. I won't tell you individual stories. I'll just give you a list. G.W. Bush, Bob Dole, Mitt Romney, Newt Gingrich, Herman Cain, President Clinton, while he was president, some of them while they were president, Jeb, Bush. You know, I've met many people, many, many more. I can't even remember off the top of my head right now. I have met many others who have either been president, were president at the time, or running for president. And every time you meet one of these people, and even if you're in a rope line shaking hands, they ask you about you. Why are you here? Where are you from? What are you doing? They never talk about themselves.
That's politics 101.
And
you know what that tells me about him? He's a complete narcissist.
That's correct.
Like, to the ultimate.
That's correct.
Not just a little bit. It doesn't even occur to him. That's a personality disorder. When it doesn't even occur to you to ask how other people. That is a lack of empathy. And it's really weird because he's very hard to understand to me because he passes a lot of good laws and he's seemingly and up until the last month or so, very seemingly caring. And it's almost like somebody came in and did a personality switch. And I think what happened is, I'm not saying he wasn't always this way, but I think when he flipped Dade County and took all the credit in his own mind, I think that set off something.
And remember, President Trump had a rally in Miami.
But in his mind, he did that. I think that really set his ego soaring, and I think there were already the seeds planted there for that. But that is narcissistic behavior. And let's get it straight. All politicians are narcissistic to some degree. You have to be that way to get into that line of work. But there's varying degrees. And to me, this is somebody who is like 100%. Like there's just no empathy, no thought of anyone else. And or he's just ignorant of how things work. Because she's right. When you have donors and they've got their checkbooks with them, so to speak, and you want them to write you big checks. I mean, you can't run without money at all. You're dead in the water without money. I mean, how many campaigns have ended because the money was cut off? And you have donors there. You ingratiate yourself to them and you basically kiss their butt. You know what I mean? How are you? How are the kids? None of that, according to Megyn Kelly. And I trust her judgment.
Well,
on this
Kathy,
stuff.
It's not just donors because I'm not a donor. And I have met people, and some of the names I've mentioned, sometimes I've met them in the capacity of my work.
Yeah, and you're not a donor, and they'll still be nice to you.
Because I'm in media, Right. But I've also met people that some of the ones even I listed who did not know I was with media. I didn't tell them, or I just showed up. And I've seen interactions with presidents and candidates talking to people, and I've always seen them. Oh, why are you here? What do you do? Where do you go to school? What do you do for work?
They're
What's your
always
wife do? You
interested
marry?
Or seem interested.
Yeah, exactly.
He
exactly.
Can't even fake it.
And Ron DeSantis is not that way. Now, there is an article about Governor DeSantis in Rolling Stone today. Why Trump's campaign against DeSantis is so personal. And I want to read through this article.
Oh, this is a good article.
This is an amazing article, and it's in today's Rolling Stone. And all the stuff that we talk about on the program is on my Twitter feed, Brian Craig Show on Twitter. Everything I talk about on the podcast, the radio, my YouTube streams, if I'm reading the news and I see an article that I'm interested in, I retweet it. Okay, and that's how I keep track of the articles and the topics I want to talk about. It's my show prep list. It's my stack of stuff. So if you want to get my stack of show prep, just follow me on the Twitter.
And Facebook, your Facebook group, Brian Craig Show has a lot of articles too.
Absolutely.
Leave comments and such.
That's right. So let me read through this article from Rolling Stone about the Trump campaign against DeSantis, which is a pretty powerful one and very much needed. And it tells us a lot of things about Ron DeSantis that we didn't know until recently. But let me just read through this article from Rolling Stone. Donald Trump loathes Ron DeSantis for the Florida governor's disloyal challenge to his iron grip on the Republican Party. Now, I just want to remind you, I am just reading from the Rolling Stone article. These are not my words or commentary, so I don't, there might be some
very liberal-leaning
some liberal-leaning stuff here. These are not my words. The former president is dwarfed by the intense desire harbored by some of Trump's key aides and allies to see DeSantis politically ruined. So there are people in Trump's inner circle that want DeSantis just forever done politically. These advisors, lawmakers, and operatives personally know Ron DeSantis. Some of them used to work for him. Now, some of them are working to reelect Trump and have brought their intimate knowledge of Ron DeSantis' operations and also what makes Trump's likely 2024 primary rival tick. Just as important, this is amazing. So, these
He's
are
got some good intel.
Just as importantly, some of the Team DeSantis termed Team Trump contingent have talked to President Trump about how best to relentlessly mess with DeSantis, assuring Trump that the Florida governor is uniquely insecure and sensitive and that it's easy to get into Ron DeSantis' head. Two sources who've spoken to Trump tell Rolling Stone.
Wow.
It's one of the reasons why the open political warfare between Trump and DeSantis is only expected to get nastier in the coming months. If Ron thinks the last couple of months have been bumpy, he's in for a painful ride, says a third source who used to be on Team DeSantis and is now in the Trump orbit. The source continues, The nature of the conversations among the people who used to work for DeSantis is just so frequently, okay, how can we destroy this guy? Which means that the people,
oh my goodness.
This means that he's kind of like the Devil Wears Prada lady.
Remember I told you.
Like he's a terror for the people that work for him.
I said this on the show last week. You had talked about how he's having trouble getting funding, and you said this is because of Trump. And I said, I wouldn't be so sure that's part of it. I said, maybe the guy is not likable. And maybe these people, when they meet him, they don't like him. And that's apparently true. So I think there's two factors going on. Trump is winning in the polls, and NBC just did their first national poll. He's ahead by 15 points of DeSantis in the NBC poll. So you know it's probably even bigger. And that's the factor why he's not getting endorsements. And I think a lot of people apparently think he's an a-hole. Apparently he's not a nice guy. I mean, if all these people are saying this,
oh, he's a terror to work for.
Then it's got to be true. I mean, he must be worse than Kamala.
I mean, these are people.
This is very disappointing.
These are people that not only know Ron DeSantis, they were in his inner circle
and left
and
now they're helping Trump.
Okay,
so that says a lot, right?
So let me go back with some of what I shared already because it continues. Okay, the source continued. The nature of the conversations among the people who used to work for Ron DeSantis is just so frequently, okay, how can we destroy this guy?
Incredible.
It is not at all at a level that is normal for people who hold the usual grudges against horrible bosses. It's a pure hatred that is much, much purer than that.
Oh, my goodness.
People who were traveling with Ron DeSantis every day, who worked with him very closely over the years, to this day joke about how it was always an open question whether or not Ron even knew their names. And that's just the start of it. One Trump advisor who also knows DeSantis tells Rolling Stone, oh, I've told President Trump several times how easy it is to mind F Ron. They use the F word there. Oh. Adding they've told Trump that DeSantis takes little slights and digs incredibly personally and doesn't really let things go. Trump is aware that the Florida governor is tailor-made for him to effectively mess with until Ron backs down. Ironically,
with this guy.
Yeah. Ironically, the title of the prominent pro-DeSantis super PAC is Never Back Down. Though Trump seems eager to take advantage of DeSantis's allegedly razor-thin skin, the ex-president and 2024 GOP frontrunner is similarly famous for his own hypersensitivity. I don't think so. I don't think that at all. I think he's pretty tough considering what they've done. They just arrested him.
They have Trump all wrong. If Trump was as fragile as they say or like to think, he would have crumbled into a corner years ago.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
He just gets back up. You keep punching him. He just gets right back up and counter punches. You just can't stop this guy.
The DeSantis former insider went on to say, Ron is someone who cannot just walk it off. I know, because I made a lighthearted joke to him once, and he got mad and held it against me.
Wow.
The former DeSantis, now Trump advisor adds, Team Trump does not want to just beat him. Team Trump wants to humiliate DeSantis, maybe more than they've ever wanted to humiliate anybody on a national stage. And that is what is driving a lot of this. DeSantis' spokesperson did not respond to Rolling Stone's request for a comment on this story.
Oh, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Sure he didn't like that article.
Yeah.
You know, I was saying to you, all these things coming out, it's like a snowball. It's like instead of having women come forward saying things about him, which is shocking, you're having people that are at dinner parties and people that have met him socially coming forward. And what happens is you just get one person. This all started when this congressman from Michigan, like 4 days ago, made the comment that he was with him on this committee and sat next to him. He didn't say one word to him. That's really started all this talk about this. And then this article came out. So what happens is reporters lag on to that, and they're like, "Oh, there's something here." Mm-hmm. But it's interesting that this is happening, and they're right. He obviously has a fragile ego because look what's happening with Disney, and I'm sure he hates this article, and I'm sure Trump is loving this article. But I wonder what his wife thinks. I read an article about her.
DeSantis?
Yeah, I read an article that they interviewed her friends from college or her good friends. And they said, which is something very interesting, that she didn't want to marry him, that she was reluctant to marry him. Yeah. And he convinced her. And I think part of his convincing her was he said, I'm going to be president someday and you'll be the first lady. Yeah. I'm telling you. And I think because she wants to be Jackie Kennedy more than anything, 2.0. And I think that was part of his way of wooing her. He, you know what I mean? And he had all these political aspirations, and he probably said, look, I went to Yale. I'm connected. It's going to happen. She must be really humiliated by
Kathy,
all these stories.
That's an interesting thing because, he was in with the Bushes from college. So that means he was recruited way back then by the Bush family, and he's the Donnie Brasco of the Republican establishment. Well, so
I'm sure she's embarrassed. If I was married to him, or if this was happening to you, and there were all these stories of you being unfriendly, rude, and unlikable, fragile, I would be embarrassed. My people were saying these things about my husband. Obviously, it's true.
Yeah,
all these people can't be lying, and it's all people that don't even know each other, different walks of life, and telling the same story.
It's crazy. Insane.
So it's very disappointing because I really loved Ron DeSantis and put him on such a pedestal. I thought he was just so great, and he is a good governor. This Disney thing's stupid. But, he's passing a lot of laws I like. So he's a good governor. Don't get me wrong. The gas shortage we had last week, he was MIA on that, and he's off doing his tour now. He's pretty much forgotten about us now that he's been elected, which I don't like that. But Trump's going to destroy this guy. I mean, this is clear. First of all, he's a horrible debater. We all know this. And he hasn't even announced yet, and maybe he won't. He's kind of in a pickle because if he doesn't announce, he's going to look like a coward after all this buildup. So I think he is going to announce. I don't think he has a choice. I think a lot of people have put money into him and time and energy, very powerful people in the GOP, and I think he has to run. He will get destroyed in the debate by Trump. And let me tell you, they're all going to attack him. They're not going to attack Trump. They're going to be too afraid of attacking him. They're all going to go after DeSantis, and Trump's going to lead the charge, and it's going to be must-see TV. I bet that'll be one of the highest-rated debates ever.
Now, of course, I want to tell you guys about Mike Lindell, who, of course, is the Thomas Edison of sleep and is a big supporter of this program and all my content. And I want to particularly talk about the new 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper 2.0. Now, our daughter came to stay with us, and we got a bed for her to sleep on while she's visiting from California. And we got her the MyPillow 3-inch mattress topper 2.0, which, by the way, is 40% off and free shipping with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and it comes in every mattress size. So, Emily, can you tell the podcast listeners about the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper 2.0 that you've been sleeping on all week?
Yeah, so when I got here, I got home a little early, so it was a day before the mattress topper arrived. So I had to sleep on the little fold-out bed. It's like a little hard little mattress. And I slept on it, and I woke up, and it felt like I had slept on concrete all night. It was just on my back was killing me. And then luckily that day, the MyPillow mattress topper arrived and popped that on. And that night I slept on it and I slept like a baby. It felt like I was sleeping on a cloud. The MyPillow mattress topper, it was honestly the best night's sleep I've had away from home in my entire life.
Yep.
And everybody, if they had it in their home, they'd sleep like a baby every night.
Well, you can't take it back to California with you, but maybe we'll buy you one and have it shipped out there for your California bed. Now, the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper 2.0, this is an upgrade on the original 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper that Kathy and I sleep on. The 2.0 version actually has the cooling technology in it to keep your body the perfect temperature all night long. It is 40% off and free shipping when you use our promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout at mypillow.com. Order yours right now. Robert Allen Miltenberg invites you to time travel with him to the Roman future. His new novella, available at Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble. It's the golden age of Rome, a time of peace and prosperity. And Scadius Commodius Lavatorius is its greatest scientist. But for all he's achieved, one question haunts him. Will Rome survive the test of time? There's only one way to find out. Come along on this cosmic romp of an adventure. See if you can read the signs any better than a brilliant scientist can. Prediction, science fiction, allegory, allegory? National glory? This is a satire at its most gladiatorial. Center stage in the Circus Maximus of your mind. A story of time machines and timeless politics, strange Roman cuisine and gambling parlor tricks, spinning gold and crossing the river Styx. That's the Roman future. Available on Kindle and paperback. Go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble now and visit The Roman Future by Robert Allen Miltenberg today. Brian Craig here. Are you looking for a reliable scooter sales and repair shop? Look no further than Anything Scooters. When my scooter broke down, Anything Scooters took care of everything for me and had me back out on the road in no time. At a great price, too. They have a huge inventory of scooters for sale, both new and used. They offer financing. They also accept trade-ins on all new and used scooter purchases. So don't let that old scooter gather dust in the garage. Trade it in and get a great deal on a new ride. If you're looking to upgrade your scooter's performance, they've got you covered. Their expert technicians can handle anything from simple oil changes to engine rebuilds, even high-performance modifications. At Anything Scooters, they use only top-quality oils and replacement parts to ensure that your scooter runs like it should. They're very friendly and they have great customer service. Visit anythingscooters.com or give them a call directly. 954-226-8710. 954-226-8710. 954-226-8710. Online, anythingscooters.com. Are you tired of that same old hairstyle? Do you want to switch things up and stand out from the crowd? Look no further than Dread Cabrit. Dread Cabrit specialize in boho locks, a freeform version of faux locks, available in different colors and including hair. Their bohemian locks are handmade with love and utilize crochet locks, a crochet hook, and additional extension hair to create that perfect look. And don't forget about their famous extra curly hair used in mastering the boho locks process. It's the perfect combination of goddess locks and traditional faux locks. At Dread Cabrit, they celebrate real, authentic brilliance in women and men who believe in themselves. Book your appointment today and let love be in the hair. Find them on Instagram at Dread_Cabrit. That's Kabrit. Or call them directly 561-708-0554. 561-708-0554. Dread Cabrit, because your hair deserves to be loved.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. All right, so Jen Psaki, she's got that TV show now. She interviewed AOC, and AOC talked about a couple of things, and I've got two clips of it that I'm going to share with you. This one here, she's talking about the great Marjorie Taylor Greene, who we all love, and Kevin McCarthy.
Do you think he's actually running his caucus, or do you think someone else is?
He's not. I don't.
Who's running it?
I think you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene running the caucus. I mean, and she makes very common public statements to that effect. Every time something irks her, she communicates that McCarthy is doing her bidding. And I think that this is something that is quite clear.
Do you think he's actually running?
So that's the first clip. I got one more I'll play in a second. Yeah.
She sounds so stupid.
Well, because she is. I told you guys this.
She does not have an advanced vocabulary.
I told you guys this. President Trump, what he did in the House of Representatives not only was amazing, it was historic and had never been done before. We had this MAGA caucus that had a lot of people in it, like Matt Gaetz, who would not vote for Kevin McCarthy. Right. And they went to more votes for speaker than has happened within any of our lifetimes. And we did not know until the last moment that Marjorie Taylor Greene was working for President Trump. And a lot of us, including me, were like, why is she in bed with this McCarthy guy? He's establishment. This is awful. What's going on? And then she's on the House floor. It's one of the votes. She gets a call. She held it up to give the phone to Matt Gaetz, and you could see it said DT on it, which, of course, Donald Trump. Right. And it was handing the phone to Matt Gaetz so Matt Gaetz could hear from President Trump.
Congratulations.
Okay, we're going to make McCarthy speaker now. So here's what's going on.
He was giving them the marching orders.
What AOC is talking about, we all know this. I talked about this when it happened. You guys know this. Yes, Marjorie Taylor Greene is more powerful in the Congress, in the House, than Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy is Trump's puppet, and that's a good thing. I say that as a compliment. We want people to do exactly what President Trump wants them to do when they want them to do it. And Kevin McCarthy made a deal with Trump. It didn't come easy. And there were a lot of, and we don't know what the details of the deal were, but President Trump got a lot of guarantees from Kevin McCarthy. We don't know what they were, but he got a lot of guarantees and promises that if you want to be speaker, you've got to do this list of things. And Kevin McCarthy wanted to be Speaker of the House more than anything in the world. And he gave President Trump everything that he wanted. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is President Trump's direct, and she's like the MAGA Trump ambassador to the House of Representatives.
I'm sure part of what Trump
That's a good
wanted,
thing.
Yeah, I'm sure part of what Trump wanted was investigations into Biden.
Maybe.
His finances.
Who knows? So what AOC is telling Jen Psaki here that they think is a terrible thing, we MAGA people think that's awesome, and it's a confirmation. And she confirmed what we knew and suspected, and she's right there. Yep. And she's seen that Marjorie Taylor Greene is the most powerful person in Washington, but she is the conduit for President Trump. Okay, so President Trump is actually the Speaker of the House, really, if you think about it. And I think that's a pretty awesome thing. And AOC is too stupid, and so is Jen Psaki, to understand that that they are complimenting the greatness of President Trump. And if these Washington insiders didn't think Trump was going to come back and win in 2024, they wouldn't be bending the knee and answering to his bidding. So here's another one. This was a little chilling because this goes to how the left think. Listen to this. This is hold on, AOC. She won't even stop talking when I'm playing the audio. Can you imagine being at dinner with her?
No.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God! She
just never stopped prattling on. I bet.
No, she probably doesn't eat at dinner because she doesn't stop talking long enough to take a bite of food unless she talks with food in her mouth.
Maybe.
But this is AOC. She's talking to Jen Psaki here about Tucker. Wait, let me cue it up. Hold on.
Federal regulation in terms of what's allowed on air and what isn't. And when you look at what Tucker Carlson and some of these other folks on Fox do, it is very, very clearly incitement of violence. Very clearly incitement of violence. And that is the line that I think we have to be willing to contend with.
Okay. So what they're doing on the radical left is declaring any conservative thought violent. And that's a very dangerous thing. And, AOC says this. This is NBC News. She said it on because Jen Psaki. And the liberals don't even, well, wait a minute. What violence is Tucker instigating?
Because they're in agreement with her.
The way that she's a millennial. Millennials believe that disagreement is violence.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That if you have a disagreeing opinion, that is a violent act.
If you challenge them, you're being violent. If you even say something true.
Challenge them in speech. I'm not talking about...
Or what they do.
Physically.
You had this happen last week on the radio show. You were challenging somebody about something with the Civil War, and they had no answer, and they're just like, well, you're a racist. And that's what liberals do when you have no argument, when they can't have anything to come back with, and they have no argument to say against you, anything plausible or anything good. They just start labeling you violent, racist, whatever comes to mind. I mean, that's their playbook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And, everything we're seeing happening shows that not only is Trump going to win in 2024, that Washington thinks so. So this is a clip from – I told you this was a jam-packed show, guys. You don't want to miss a thing. That lot's been going on here. This is Lindsey Graham talking to Dana Bash on CNN, and she asked Lindsey Graham why he endorsed President Trump instead of Rick Scott, our great senator here in Florida, who was our governor before DeSantis, or Nikki Haley. Mm-hmm. And let's not forget, Dana Bash is CIA, okay? She was married to John King from CNN, but her other husband that she got the Bash name from was a senior person at the CIA. So Dana Bash is CIA. So let me get to this. This is Dana Bash. She's with Lindsey Graham. Why did you endorse Trump instead of Rick Scott or Nikki Haley? Okay, this is and what's interesting about this is that Dana Bash is so confused that Lindsey Graham did this. Listen to this.
I want to turn back to 2024. You have endorsed former President Trump, as I mentioned. There are two candidates in the race from your home state of South Carolina, former UN ambassador and South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley and your colleague in the Senate, Tim Scott. They've announced their own runs, or in Tim Scott's case, an exploratory committee. Why shouldn't South Carolinians vote for one of their own?
Oh, by the way, I misspoke. The Scott was not Rick Scott. It was Tim Scott. Okay, because the South Carolina connection. I misspoke. I was incorrect about something. I don't need any fact checkers. Okay, but anyway, let's go. Click it again.
Well, both of them are just incredible people. Tim is the ranking member on banking, the world's nicest man. Nikki was a tremendous voice at the UN. The reason I'm with President Trump is I thought he was a good president on the things that mattered the most. We had a secure border. We destroyed the caliphate. We had energy independence. I think he's the right person to fix the problems that we face, to undo all the damage by Biden. It's not anything about Nikki or Tim that I find fault in. It's about the ability of President Trump to get things done that should be done. I'd like to see him have another term. I'm not supporting him because I find fault in others. I'm supporting him because I think he was a very effective president across the board, economically and on national security.
Yeah, and Dana Bash is just like so confused by this.
Well, I'm not confused. Lindsey Graham wants to get reelected.
That's right.
He when Trump was indicted, he went on Fox and begged for money for people to donate to his campaign.
Yeah.
He knows that he's like one of those animals. It's like a parasite, and he attaches himself. You know, like the fish that attach themselves to sharks. Trump's the shark, and Lindsey Graham is the parasite. He attaches himself to other politicians and rides their coattails. He did it with John McCain, and he's doing it with Trump. And he wants to get reelected. I don't think he likes Trump. I don't think he's Trump's friend. I think he uses him.
No.
He needs money for donations. He needs Trump's support. He wants to stay in the Senate, and that's what that's all about. I mean, he's loyal to himself. So he's not going to endorse Nikki or Tim because they're not going to win. They're not even close. I mean, Trump actually is probably going to win at least the nomination. I'm sure he'll win everything, but he's not going to back somebody that's a loser. Why would he do that? That doesn't benefit him at all.
No, you're absolutely correct. And it's another example with Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham feels the pulse of the Washington swamp.
Absolutely.
And he always goes with who he thinks the big daddy boss is going to be. He's always with who's ever going to be in charge. And he's with Trump because he knows that Trump is the boss and he is going to be in charge.
Well, and if he wants to stay in the Senate, he needs to be on the Trump train.
That's exactly right. You know, I was reading this article today in the Gateway Pundit. I missed this because it happened with Neil Cavuto, and I don't like Neil Cavuto. I can't stand Neil Cavuto.
He's pretty boring.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Cavuto, he really hates Trump, and he used to like Trump. In the first campaign, he was okay with Trump, and then things went south. And I've heard people say that he thought he should be the Treasury Secretary. I don't know why. Why? Because he's on Fox News Business, talking business things. I don't know what his business background is. But anyway, he had a congressman on talking about his endorsement of President Trump. Yeah, this is amazing. By the way, how many interviews have you seen on TV with people endorsing DeSantis? I think I saw one. And he gave 2 interviews, and they're trying to pass that off as 2 endorsements, right? But, it's the same guy interviewed twice on 2 different shows. But anyway, listen to Cavuto. He's very upset about this.
With us now, Congressman Carlos Jimenez, who is kind enough to take time to let us know where he's going and where he's heading and who he's supporting. Congressman, who is it?
Well, I'm announcing that I'll be supporting President Donald J. Trump for president in 2024. I think he gives us the best chance of winning. He had a solid track record as president, and yesterday at the dinner, he laid out a solid plan for the future and where we need to go. America needs to go to restore our prominence in the world.
Now, did you let both candidates know that was your preference?
Yes, I did. Before I announced today. Obviously, the president knows, but also Governor DeSantis knows exactly who I was going to support.
And what did the governor have to say to you?
Oh, I think the governor understands. Look, I think the governor's done a great job in Florida. There's nothing. It's not against Governor DeSantis. It's for President Trump, and so I'm supporting President Trump. Not that I don't like Governor DeSantis. Again, I think he's doing a great job as the governor of the state of Florida. But I think President Trump is better suited and better prepared to be president of the United States. Better prepared to lead us in the direction that this country needs to go.
The fact that so many have gone this way.
Cavuto doesn't like hearing this, because he hates Trump. And I remember, I want to play the rest of this because I want to hear what Cavuto says. Yeah, the looks on his face in this segment are just, he's sick. But Cavuto, I'll never forget, after the Capitol breach, President Trump was addressing the American people during a time of a national tragedy in the aftermath of it. And Cavuto cut him off the air. He says, the President of the United States is about to speak, and he could incite violence at any moment, so we must cut away. We cannot allow him forum. And I will never forget that. I watched it live, and he is forever on my S list, Neil Cavuto. But let's find out what he said. You can tell he's very upset about this.
The former president is racking up an unusually high number of endorsements, particularly in Florida. Of course, that's a message to Governor DeSantis. What do you think that message is?
Well, I think the message is that the president is very strong, has a big portion of the base is with the president, and a lot of the lawmakers from the state of Florida, especially congressmen and women, are throwing their weight behind the president. We see the same things. I think yesterday at the dinner, what we saw, what I heard, was what I wanted to hear and what I wanted to see. And so, after the dinner, it was evident to me as I went home with my wife and we spoke about it that we need to throw our support behind President Trump.
I mean, Cavuto, this guy's not even flinching.
This dinner he's talking about, I put it in your Facebook group. There was a big dinner at Mar-a-Lago, and there was a picture of Trump at the table, one of these long tables in this gold room, like out of the Versailles. And it was about 20 people there, Matt Gaetz, all Florida representatives, were there. Some of them I really didn't recognize, but they're all Florida congresspersons and stuff. And he hosted a dinner. And I can promise you at that dinner, unlike the dinner Ron DeSantis had, Trump actually asked them about themselves, their kids, their grandkids, asked their opinion on things. See, this is where a personality helps. Yeah. And even Megyn Kelly said Trump reaches out all the time to people and is affable and available, unlike DeSantis, who's closed off and completely consumed with himself. And this is why DeSantis is not getting endorsements, because he's not schmoozing. He's not being friendly. He's not going out. I mean, that's part of it. It's also part of it that Trump's so far ahead in the polls, which doesn't hurt, okay? If DeSantis was way ahead in the polls, these guys would be endorsing DeSantis. But I think Trump being ahead and being approachable and having dinners and inviting people there and all this stuff helps too. I think that's the combination of the two. But these guys see the writing on the wall. I mean, Trump just is ahead. He's always been ahead. Remember when he was on the stage, and he was always ahead from day one. He was always in the top spot, always in the middle. Yeah. That was so great watching those debates. And every time there was a debate, you'd see less and less. Remember, Trump said to Jeb Bush, "You're going to fall off the stage." And he was always center square every debate because he was always number one no matter what. He's a winner. And they know that's how it's going to be now. He's always been ahead of DeSantis in every poll since all this started. And let me tell you, if DeSantis runs, he's crazy. But I feel like I said before, he has no choice now because there's been so much buildup. They say he's going to announce in June. If he thinks he can turn things around, he's deluded. He's deluded. He
does. The one guy that I saw on TV that endorsed him said something I've heard a couple DeSantis people say, well, the reason he's so behind in the polls is he's not announced yet.
That's right. That's what I heard another woman say.
So they think that when he announces,
good luck.
Then it's going to be worse. And the thing about it is President Trump has about a dozen endorsements from Florida congresspeople. They're
all Floridians, which is significant.
And let me tell you, people like me, I'm talking about Floridians who are Republican, who are MAGA people. The number of DeSantis supporters is dwindling day by day. He has lost the Republican base. He doesn't understand that he got elected and reelected on President Trump's clout, not his own.
Yeah, and I've asked this before. If you guys feel that DeSantis is redeemable, and when does it go past that point? And I think he still is. If he came out and said, I'm not going to run, and I fully support President Trump for the nomination, and I'm behind him, which he won't do.
Yeah.
But I think if he did that, I think MAGA is very forgiving. And if he did that, MAGA would forgive him and welcome him back into the fold and be like, great, this is what we want to hear.
Yeah.
But he's not going to do that. He's according to Megyn Kelly and others, he lives in his own narcissistic bubble and can't see past himself. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I just want to tell you real quick. NBC did a poll. Chuck Todd talked about it today. He had a meltdown.
Oh, I saw this.
70% of people they poll. Now, they poll mostly Democrats.
Liberals, yeah.
70% said they do not want Biden to run. Again, now 60 said Trump shouldn't, but they're all liberals.
No, that's a poll.
70%.
Okay. That poll is, because I looked at it, it's a poll of Americans, which, okay, there's different types of polling. There's polls of likely voters, which is the most scientifically accurate. And what we're talking about now is we're in primary time, so you only want to talk to people of that political party. This poll was done of Americans, which is the least scientific and most liberal. So among Democrats, 70% don't want Biden to run, and
that's huge.
And how many don't want Trump to run?
60 don't want Trump.
60% of Democrats.
So Biden beat Trump on
that. So think about this: 60% of Democrats don't want Trump to run. Yeah. That means 40% of Democrats want Trump to run, which is 10% more of Democrats than want Biden to run. So even the majority of Democrats, or a larger majority of Democrats, want Trump, not Biden, to run. So things aren't looking good for the Democrats. But I will say this: we talked about this on the last podcast about Bobby Kennedy, and I am making a prediction that could change tomorrow because we're very early on, and anything can say. People say to me sometimes that don't like me, "Oh, you're wrong here, you're wrong there," because I make predictions.
Exactly.
All kinds of things factor in. I don't need to be right on everything,
and you have the guts to make those predictions, unlike other people who just play it safe.
I am predicting that Robert Kennedy Jr. will get the Democrat nomination.
Really?
Yeah, he did some more stuff. Although I don't want to get sidetracked into him right now, but he did some other things on the weekend that have really what I talked about this a lot on the last podcast episode. So go and check that out. It's why Biden will not get the nomination. But what's going on with the Democrats is, the Democrats tried to create this great MAGA divide between Trump and DeSantis, and that's failed. Everyone's on the Trump train, right? As I am, and Kathy is, and you all should be too. The Democrat Party is on the verge of a major, major split like we've never seen the Democrats in modern times. The split is between the AOC, BLM, trans, radical, fringe, open border people, and then the Kennedy Democrats, who are
more old school.
They don't hate America.
Right.
And they do support traditional values in many instances, but they're still Democrats and support abortion and other things. Don't misunderstand me. They're still Democrats. They're no good, but they're more reasonable than these radical lunatics that have bullied the party. And the split going on among Democrats between Bobby Kennedy and the rest of on the Biden camp are insane. I mean, when you got Biden's up there promoting, he bends a knee to black people for Black Lives Matter, and Bobby Kennedy talked about this. He said, "Listen, we got to recognize the things that have happened in the past racially, but we're not. That doesn't mean we're going to punish people today for things that happened long ago." And this
reparations thing is stupid. Then this other guy came out and said, this conservative said white people should get reparations for dying in the Civil War. I'm sure he was joking, but the liberals are having a field day with that. But it makes you see how ridiculous the other side of the coin is.
I'm all for that because I had family in the Civil War and the Union side.
That's right. So
okay,
you might get
the Union
Emily
side
might get something. I'll get nothing.
That's right. Well, our daughter's black, so she'll get the reparations, and then I'll get the Civil War Union reparations.
There you go. We'll be living.
Then we'll join Mar-a-Lago, and we'll be set up.
We'll be sitting pretty.
Exactly. Everybody should get reparations, right? How about we just, cut everybody's taxes? How about that? All right, listen, We're going to take our last break. Do not go anywhere. I told you this episode is jam-packed. All kinds of craziness has happened the last few days, and we're going to get to more of it after the break. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
Are you tired of feeling stuck in the same old patterns and behaviors in life? Are you struggling with trauma, shame, and limiting beliefs? You're not alone. And the book, I Cried All the Way to Happy Hour, available on Amazon, is the help you've been searching for. Written by author Brian D. Mahan, I Cried All the Way to Happy Hour is a beginner's guide to understanding trauma, shame, and how they influence your thoughts, words, and your actions. In this life-changing book, you'll learn about the wounding experiences that create beliefs about yourself, about others, and the world around you, and how to break free from the vicious cycle that they create. This book can help trauma survivors, especially those who may not even realize that they are trauma survivors. With a focus on a body-based approach to healing, you'll gain the tools and resources you need to fast-track your personal transformation and build a strong foundation for a happier life. Stop chasing down your symptoms and heal the root causes of your struggles. And order your copy of I Cried All the Way to Happy Hour from author Brian D. Mahan, available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback, and start your journey to a brighter future. Do you ever feel like you've lost your way? Like you're adrift and you just can't find your bearings? Let Annie Harrison's journey inspire you. In Beyond the Sea, Annie's Journey into the Extraordinary, from author Nina Perti, Annie set sail on her grandfather's luxurious yacht to travel the world and restore her sense of direction. Along the way, she meets two charming suitors, a Spanish matador and a Moroccan businessman. Her talent for blending architectural style with history is only enhanced by the fascinating places she visits. But when Annie's father reappears after missing for 2 years and the British Secret Service gets involved, she realizes she may be in over her head. With thrilling plot twists and a class of memorable characters, Beyond the Sea is a captivating novel that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Order your copy of Beyond the Sea, Annie's Journey into the Extraordinary, from author Nina Perti. Available right now on Amazon, iTunes, and Google Play. This book is perfect for book clubs. Order your copy right now.
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's Lisa, and my husband and I received our My Pillow 2.0 that we ordered with Kane the other day, the buy one, get one free, and they're our first My Pillows, and we love them. We absolutely love them. They're just absolutely marvelous. Yeah, I'm so glad. I got slippers on the way, too.
Go to MyPillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, and buy your My Pillow 2.0. Right now, buy one, get one free. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. I want to take a moment to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support. Thank you so much. And those of you that are patrons of the program, your support helps us out a lot. And if you would like to support the program, a great way to do that is to become a patron through Patreon. And there's a link to our Patreon page in the description of this and every episode. You click that link, it'll walk you through and explain everything on how to become a patron of the program. There's also a link on my website, BrianCraigShow.com, and the direct website address is patreon.com/realbriancraigshow. And Patreon supporters have access to commercial-free editions of all of our episodes. And Kathy and I also do exclusive Patreon podcast episodes on occasion that we upload there. And we post a lot of things to the Patreon page for Patreon supporters that no one else sees or has access to. And we also have a special group that you can join that we give you access to, where we can have conversations with you, and we talk to the Patreon supporters one-on-one as well. Our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on every podcast episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Rome, Wisconsin, the Patreon supporter with the longest name. Rome, Wisconsin, a lot of syllables there. Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, Arctic Fox, K-Mac, and Cindy. These are our top Patreon supporters. An extra special thank you to all of you.
I also want to thank Rome. She sent us popcorn.
Oh, yes,
for
my
Brian's birthday. She sends this amazing popcorn.
Oh.
And they put this one flavor. It's caramel and the cheddar mix.
Yeah, that's mine.
It is so good.
You can't have any of that.
It is so good.
That's not for you. That's all for me.
It's bad. It's good, but it's bad because I eat
good.
the whole bag. But thank you, Rome. I meant
delicious.
to thank her. I was going to text her.
It's delicious.
She sent that. So that was amazing for your birthday. How was your birthday? You turned 52 last week.
Thanks a lot for telling everyone.
Well, I'm older than you. And did you have a good birthday?
I did.
Good.
I'm
did.
Glad. Yes, I did. And it was good to hear from so many people in the listening audience of the podcast, the radio show, YouTube. It's amazing how many people have my cell phone number and texted me.
Yeah.
And one Dr. Appleton with the laser wave pain treatment, he called me on my cell phone and sang happy birthday to me over the phone, which was amazing.
That shows you when he did that, and you've had other sponsors periodically through the years wish you happy birthday. That shows you how thoughtful he is.
Isn't that something?
That he remembered your birthday out of the blue, called you. And I got to say, I know that you've had pain and stuff with him. Real quick, and I want to say
I was relieved of my pain.
Relieved of pain, right? and I got to say honestly, when you do that, it's true what Brian says. Like he hurt his shoulder last month, and you were in so much pain for like 2 weeks, and it was like a muscle or something. You fell down and pulled it, and you kept thinking it'll just get better, and then you finally one Friday, it was like 4:00, and you're like, I've got to go see Dr. Apple. I'm in so much pain right now. And you went and you came home and you said, I feel so much better. And the next morning, by the next day, your pain was completely gone. I mean, he really is amazing.
It's amazing. So, all of you that sent me things for my birthday or just sent me a message, thank you so much. It was really, it's overwhelming.
Yeah, that is nice.
I know a lot of people say it's so overwhelming, all this. It's amazing how many people message me in one way, shape, form, or another to wish me happy birthday.
Unlike Governor DeSantis, Brian is a humble guy.
That's right. It really just blew me away. Before I get back to the other political things, the blue checkmark apocalypse went through where the celebrities lost their blue checkmarks on Twitter, although Elon Musk did give some celebrities their checkmarks back, William Shatner and some others. And
that's a good one.
These celebrities like Jason Alexander just went on this thing that I don't have a blue check mark. I will not use this platform. If anyone tweets as me, they're fake. I will not use it anymore. I lost my blue check. And I commented on Jason Alexander's tweet on that. I said, these self-important actors like Jason Alexander, if they're worried about the blue check mark, they need to get some acting work. They got too much time on their hands.
Agreed.
Linda Carter, Wonder Woman, was griping about her blue checkmark being gone, and I commented on hers too. I said, "Who needs a blue checkmark when you got an invisible jet?" I mean, come on. These celebrities, that blue checkmark that I have, that blue checkmark was so important to them, and they feel like they're non-persons because of it.
Pay for it and act like nothing happened.
Well, they want to be anointed having it. And Stephen King
Their whole life revolves around this.
Stephen King, who's a real liberal piece of work, he had a run-in on Twitter with Elon Musk. And out of all the celebrity ones, this one was a good one, okay? So I want to share this with you. Stephen King's a real liberal jerk. And I must say, I've read quite a few Stephen King books. He is so overrated.
Yeah, his books aren't good.
And
he's got some good movies. Carrie was good. The Shining. He's got some
His books are
movies.
So thick. I think he gets paid by the word.
Yeah.
But like I read Salem's Lot, the vampire one, and I saw that movie. It was a TV movie with David Soul when I was a kid. And I've
never seen that.
I think I was on page 100 and something, maybe 200 and something before there was a vampire in the book. Give me a break, Stephen King. Anyway, listen to this. So he's one of these ones griping about the blue check mark, problem. And Stephen King tweeted this. I think Mr. Musk, that's Elon, I think Mr. Musk should give my blue check mark to charity. I recommend the Prytula Foundation, which provides life-saving services in Ukraine. It's only $8, so perhaps Mr. Musk could add a bit more. See, Elon Musk gave Stephen King his check mark back. And by the way, the blue check marks that the celebrities have, like William Shatner, Stephen King, Elon Musk paid for those.
So why did he give back Stephen King's? Because
he was griping. He did it. I guess he likes him on the platform. So anyway, Stephen King says he should give the blue checkmark money to Ukraine. So Elon Musk responded. He says, I've donated $100 million to Ukraine. How much have you donated? No response from Stephen King on that.
Probably
that means nothing.
Probably not 1 cent.
Maybe the $8 to that foundation.
He's donated $100 million.
Yeah. Elon Musk.
That's a waste.
It is a waste because it's a con. Elon Musk.
How much more could you do good with that money in this country?
They're getting enough of our taxpayer money.
My goodness.
They don't need. Okay, now a few other things I want to get to. This is the last segment, guys. But
how much money do they need, for God's sakes?
It's Pops has got to get his 10%.
Holy mackerel.
And of course,
it's a never-ending cash register.
Zelensky's got to get his cut. By the time all these people are done stealing, there's not much left for the defense of Ukraine against the Russians. It's a big con job.
I guess so.
So I wanted to just share this. There's not a lot to share with it, but it was a great moment. Carrie Lake had a run-in at the airport here in Florida with Morning Joe and Mika. And, Morning Joe and Mika live in Palm Beach County. They live in Jupiter, where Don Jr. lives. They pretend to be in Washington, but they do their show from here.
What airport do you know?
I would imagine it was the Palm Beach International Airport. And Carrie Lake ran into them, and they had a conversation, and there was a happening. So Carrie Lake tweeted about it. She says, ran into Joe and Mika from MSNBC at the airport. Joe was fairly nice, but his wife, Mika, started recording me, called me a liar, and said I was delusional. And then she went on, Carrie Lake, they constantly lie and disparage me on national TV. I wonder if they'd be brave enough to have me on their show. So what happened was, some people at the airport saw Joe Scarborough, who looks like Odo from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the shapeshifter, Mika and Carrie Lake, and it a little heated, and they caught a photo of it, and Mika Brzezinski was secretly, without telling Carrie Lake, recording the whole thing.
Her phone was on.
Yeah, she turned her and
she's a horrible
and Mika did own up to this. Carrie Lake had asked her, "You recorded me?" She said, "Yes." Now in Florida, you don't need two-party consent, okay, if you're in a public space. So it's nothing illegal, but she was trying to get some dirt to put on air about Carrie Lake, and we haven't seen anything come out of that, which means she didn't get any dirt. Not that there's any dirt to get on Carrie Lake, but what I'm curious about was I would like to see that video released, or at least hear the audio of it, because I wonder if Joe was trying to bait Carrie Lake into saying certain things since his wife was there. Recording on the down low. I'd like to see that video just to hear that. Okay, now I got a couple more sound bites I want to share with you. One of them is Eric Adams, the Playboy mayor of New York City. And of course, these illegals have been shipped to New York City for quite some time now, and he's not happy about it. Listen to this.
The city is being destroyed by the migrant crisis, and none of my folks came to Washington, D.C.
What's with all the pausing after every syllable and word? What is that about?
Migrant crisis, and none of my folks came to Washington, D.C. to fight for the resources that's going to undermine every agency in our city.
Okay. Couple things there. What he's talking about, resources, he wants government money, because, listen, you can always get government money. Just remember, the big guy, Biden, gets 10%, Eric Adams. So, it's easy. I love it. So New York City, with these Democrat jerks that have been running it, has been a sanctuary city for illegals until the illegals came there. Then all of a sudden, no sanction. Right. It's easy to support an open border when you're not on the border.
Well, that's why they shipped all the people up there to let them know and feel some of the pain.
Yeah, I know. It's
Which was
beautiful.
a very good move by Abbott, by the way.
Keep doing it. Okay, now this last clip, I know we have a lot of listeners in Canada. And those of you in Canada, you have this child, Trudeau, running your country. And Trudeau is talking about abortion, addressing the Canadian people.
So let me be very clear. This government will never tell a woman what to do with her body. We are unequivocally and proudly pro-choice and always will be.
Okay, now...
Who is that?
That's Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada.
Oh.
He's 16 years old. Okay, the thing about this, I don't know too much about Canada. I have heard that in parts of Canada, prostitution is legal. I don't know if that's true, but I've been told that. I don't know if that's true. So I would usually ask people if, he says that women should be able to do whatever it is they want to do with their bodies in Canada. I'm sure I'll get a lot of feedback. Let me know in the comments, is prostitution legal in Canada? Is that a good thing? But I'm pretty sure that a woman does not have the right to shoot heroin into her veins or smoke crack cocaine in Canada. There must be some regulations. Oxycodone. Does a woman have the right just to go down to the store and without a prescription grab a bottle of oxycodone and give it to herself, or does she need a doctor's prescription? Just how far does this Canadian will never tell a woman what to do with her body go up there with Trudeau? What are things that women can do with their bodies that they shouldn't be doing?
Well, I know they had female truckers in the Capitol, and he told them what to do with their bodies.
They couldn't be there protesting.
They couldn't stand there and protest.
You're not
he
allowed
made
to
them
protest.
leave and threatened them, so he told them what to do then.
And not only that, there were women who were not truck drivers supporting the Freedom Truckers, and they were not allowed to use their body, their female body, to protest.
He's an idiot.
Yeah, so I think he came on to – so he really doesn't support a woman's right to choose what to do with their own body.
It's amazing how people that are pro-choice just completely ignore that there's another human body involved. They just completely ignore that it's not about the woman. It's there's another body, another life that's involved. This is not about, so if you have a mother who's strung out on heroin in her car with her kids in the car, that's okay, Trudeau, for her to do that and ignore her children and have them hungry. And that happens all the time. That's just a stupid argument.
Well, he's a stupid person.
Well, yeah. It's just, you could poke holes in that argument all day long.
Him and AOC would love each other at dinner parties.
Oh, God.
They're
so weird
so much
looking.
alike, aren't
He's
they?
so weird looking, yeah.
And you know that
very
the thing
vapid.
about Trudeau, I think he's a strange looking guy. He thinks he's sexy.
No, I don't think he's
He thinks he's hot. He thinks he's like JFK Jr. or something.
No, he's weird looking.
You know what? Doesn't he? Isn't he in love with himself?
Yeah.
He's in love with himself.
His wife's pretty.
I've never seen his wife.
Yeah, she's pretty. But
What's his name?
Her name?
No, I'm kidding.
His name? Yeah,
I'm kidding.
I don't know
I'm
her
kidding.
name.
I'm kidding.
But
I don't
he's
know
cute,
his
but
really.
I just don't think he's attractive at all.
Well, she's got to put up with him.
Yeah.
You got to feel bad. Who would you rather not be married to? Who would be the worst person to be married to?
I know what you're going to say.
There's 3 choices. Who would be the worst spouse to be married to? And I'm going to use different genders here, okay? Would it be worse to be married to Trudeau? Would it be worse to be married to AOC or to Elizabeth Warren? And I think about Elizabeth Warren because I was just going to say AOC and Trudeau until I remembered. Remember this when Elizabeth Warren did an Instagram live stream from her kitchen and her husband walked in?
Yeah.
And she says, "Oh, thank you for being here." What, in the house in which you live together? She was so surprised that her husband was in the kitchen in the house that they lived together in.
It was
wasn't that strange?
Somebody took a still picture of her kitchen, and in the top on one of the shelves, she had a cookie jar that was like Sambo.
Yes, I remember that. What is she doing with that?
I remember Sambo's restaurant. My grandma used to take me there.
What was she
my
doing
aunt
with
was
that?
dating the owner at one point and wanted to marry her, and she told him no. My Aunt Millie.
And
like an idiot, she said no, I guess, and he had a lot of money. But they went out of business, but we used to eat at Sambo's all the time.
That
was big down
I
here.
was not ever in one of those restaurants. I never went to one of those.
Did you have them in Ohio?
No,
I'm talking
that's
in
a
the
southern
70s.
restaurant. That's a southern restaurant.
So they were all down here. It was like a Denny's. And let me tell you, when we went, I didn't understand what it meant. I was a kid. I was like, under 10 years old. But I remember the restaurant, and they had like little murals all around of Sambo with the tiger. And let me tell you, every time we went, that place was packed.
Yeah.
There was a line out the door. So I don't know what happened with it. Maybe because it was offensive, it went out of business. But yeah, that's my story with Sambo. But yeah, I didn't understand when I was like 7 years old what that meant.
Yeah, and I don't even.
But my grandma might have understood.
I don't even understand.
She's old school.
What it means now, why people would be upset about it. But I know this.
Yeah.
Okay, I do know this. That if Donald Trump had a cookie jar with Sambo on it in his kitchen,
oh my gosh,
like Elizabeth Warren, the media would have meltdowns.
Yeah.
But Elizabeth Warren's allowed to have this racist memorabilia in her home, in which she's surprised when her husband comes into the kitchen of the house in which they live together. Well, listen, we're out of time, but we'll be back next time, guys, okay? And it was nice to hear from our daughter, Emily. She's still with us here. She has not gone back to California yet, thankfully. She's here hanging out with us for another week. It was nice to hear Emily on the program. We haven't had her on the podcast in a while. Listen, everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. We will talk to you next time.
Are you struggling to connect with your teen? Are you worried about the troubles your teen is facing in today's world? Don't miss out on the ultimate guide to faith-led parenting with the book from Script Seeds, Parenting Teens Through Faith, available on Amazon. Parenting Teens Through Faith is your essential handbook to raising confident, resilient, and empowered teenagers. This book provides practical advice for providing a strong, faith-based foundation for building character, virtues, and resilience in your teen. You'll also discover essential biblical principles for providing hope and confidence, no matter your faith background. Start building a stronger, more resilient family with Parenting Teens Through Faith, available in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover editions on Amazon. This book is perfect for church groups. Order your copy right now. Are you a truck or car enthusiast looking to upgrade your ride? Look no further than GroundZeroCustoms.com. GroundZeroCustoms.com is an online store specializing in aftermarket performance and appearance upgrades. They have a vast inventory of high-quality parts and accessories, and they have everything you need to take your vehicle to the next level. GroundZeroCustoms.com offer the best brands in the business, including Baja Designs, Mickey Thompson Tires, 4Play, and that's just the beginning. Whether you're looking for lighting upgrades or suspension modifications, they have you covered. Plus, GroundZeroCustoms.com understand that each vehicle is unique, which is why they offer a wide range of specialized parts and accessories. Upgrade your ride and make it truly your own. Go to GroundZeroCustoms.com and discover the possibilities. You will find an unbeatable selection and everything you need to take your vehicle to the next level. Start shopping right now at GroundZeroCustoms.com.